Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the podcast from the birthplace of geocaching right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Now, it's Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific time zone, and they call me Chris of the Northwest. And we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're binging that new Netflix series, while you're stuck in traffic, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
The producers of this podcast cannot condone the behaviors described by the introduction host. Anyway.
But the hosts of this podcast have seen such things.
Oh, no doubt. And far worse, I'm sure. All right. Well, binging things in the car might be appropriate tonight because we're talking about road trips.
Ooh.
Or toe drips.
No. I think you may have reversed things there.
Okay. Live audience, what do you think about that? Strike that. Reverse it. Thank you. No, that's different. We can't do much until we bring in our careening colobus. Some say he took his driving test on a farm tractor. And others say no one has ever listed him as an emergency contact. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
It's probably best not to list me as an emergency contact. I'll just put that there. Farm tractor. Interesting. You know, I have to laugh, though, about the whole thing about watching Netflix in the car. So, short story here. One of my favorite things around that kind of idea, we were on a geocache road trip. Making our way south on one of the highways that attaches to the I-5. I can never get the numbers right, but down that way in traffic, everything's moving slow. And then all of a sudden we hear this whoop, whoop, whoop. And it's a police motorbike that was just a vehicle or two behind us. And I guess a car beside us, the guy was on his phone, looking at his phone. And you hear the police officer over his loudspeaker go, "Put the phone down." that would get your attention. That was pretty funny. But yeah, so there you go. Put the phone down. But if you're watching us tonight, as long as you're not driving while you're doing it,
don't put the phone down.
Don't put the phone down.
Totally fine to stream, binge, or consume other video content if you are not operating a motor vehicle at the time.
Exactly. All right. Well, hey, before we get into more fun stuff about hashtag geocache road trips, let's talk a little bit about how much we appreciate everybody who supports this podcast. And we're going to start with our Denali level, corporate Denali level sponsors. That is, first of all, Landsharks, LANDSHARKZ.ca. And they are sharing the message of Happy Lunar Year, Happy Lunar New Year. It is, we're on the cusp of the Chinese New Year. They have a gorgeous Year of the Wood Dragon geocoin for sale while supplies last. So check it out at Landsharks with the Z.ca. The Year of the Wood Dragon.
Is it? I know it's the Year of the Dragon. I've never heard of a wood dragon.
So hold on. Let me flip back to that.
What would a dragon do?
It would just drag on.
Yes. Well, there's like I guess from a coding perspective or a logic perspective, like an argument that goes before the or a descriptor that goes before the animal. So they cycle through a number of animals, but each of those animals, there's actually a variation of an element associated with each of those animals every year. So,
I had no idea.
Yeah. So it is Wood Dragon this year. There you go.
Little trivia tip or whatever. I was born in the year of the muffler dragon.
Ah.
I think I had one of those cars.
Yeah.
Did they call you Sparky?
Mm.
All right. However, we're not done yet, folks. We just took a little detour there to talk a little trivia. Let's also thank our corporate Denali level sponsor, Gold Country Geotourism. Visit exploregoldcountry.com. Learn more about the geotours, the region. Do not forget to download the app. You can find them on Facebook and on the web at exploregoldcountry.com. And folks, hey, every single one of you, and particularly those of you who are actively supporting this podcast, we appreciate every one of you. And if you're curious about how you can also support this podcast, well, why don't you head on over to the cachingNW.com website and look for the Patreon link. I flipped it around, Chris.
Wow. I can't keep up.
Ah,
All I know is just Carlo was born in the year of the Metal Rooster, which makes a good band name.
that is an awesome band name. Metal Rooster.
Just in case you want to know, we had a Metal Rooster for years.
Yeah, on your front porch.
Yeah, back porch. And then my wife was like, I'm done with the Metal Rooster.
You've seen the store as you drive onto Camino Island with all the metal animals for sale that they make there and sell there. Many roosters of various sizes. Anytime I hear Metal Rooster, I definitely think of that place. That's pretty awesome.
I don't know where I was when I saw a 20-foot metal chicken.
That's a big chicken.
That's a big chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Like a transformer chicken.
No. Well, I don't know. It did not transform while I viewed it.
Okay.
But I'm not saying it doesn't transform.
All right.
It's not ruling the possibility out.
That's right. Okay, moving on. Folks, it's time for maybe the glow of a giant transforming metal chicken. Or what we like to call the geocaching log of the week. Thank you, GSM times 2. What is a glow?
For the record, he put that in the chat at 8:59 p.m. So
Before the podcast.
I guess it was 9:01. Sorry, 9:01, but it was right at the beginning.
Wow.
But
GSM times 2, you're on my nice list. The glow is the geocaching log of the week. So whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. You can send an email or a recording on that there smartphone you got to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can call into 253-693-TFTC and show us just how you glow.
oh, let's see. The glow. It says, "Good day, guys. I'm going to submit a glow of my failure." Nah, talking my language here. And almost stranded in the Wenatchee Okanagan National Forest. This is one of the WSGA Geotour caches, WSGA 20 CC 1141 South Summit Road. That's GC 9 X-Ray Golf Tango 8, don't you know?
This one's infamous.
You know this one as well, huh?
I found all of them, but this one took us a couple of goes.
Okay. Let's see. I am struggling a little bit. There we go. There was part of the text was hidden in my notes here. Let's see if I can read it all here. I and Fairy Honey. Oh, and this was sent in, you said, by Seabeck Tribe. So thanks, Seabeck Tribe. I and Fairy Honey went on a 3-day road trip around northeast corner of Washington, gathering up WSGA Geotour caches needed in Inland Empire, 3 out of 3, and Cascadian, 9 out of 15 chapters, plus grabbing Cities and Town Challenge, 12 out of 16, and a few other caches. 4, 1 DNF, 1 Right Note, plus Adventure Labs, 2 of 5 stages, while traveling 1,230 miles after having a mini breakdown on my wrong way to WSGA Geotour CC11, the aforementioned GC9 X-Ray Golf Tango 8, by the way. If you want to learn what happened, well, I'll tell you. After this hiccup, we decided it would be better to head home even after another mini breakdown before actually making it all the way home without turning off my car from Chelan to Seabeck. Maybe it was a starter issue. That's why you don't want to turn the car off.
Or a non-starter.
And yeah. This was day 3 of our journey. Where do I start on this one and out myself on all the errors that I made while going after this cache? This all started about 2 p.m. as I left Twisp.
Isn't
First,
that a fun town to say?
Isn't it? Yeah, Twisp. Just give it a little Twisp. First, I didn't read the page very carefully and was trusting my GPS to guide me from the last cache in Twisp. Do not trust the GPS from this direction. Confirmation thumbs up from Land Monkey. I started my way up this long dirt road onto national forest land. As we were going, I suddenly remembered there was something about this one. So I pulled over here. That's North 4816.520 by West 11956.318. You know, if you're driving along, don't type it into your Google Maps. Pull over first. Like she did. Pull over, turn off the car. There was my mistake. Even though I told myself not to turn it off because I feared that I would not be able to start it up, just turn the car off. I've been having some issues with in the past, thinking it had something to do with my battery cable connection after changing to a new battery a few months ago. And if you can still hear me, I'm completely locked up and frozen.
Well, we can hear you.
You can? Okay, my video's frozen. So let's see how far I can go.
Okay.
Battery cable connection had changed to new battery a few months ago. I wanted to let the car cool off a bit while I read the description and my note from Land Monkey's attempt when he approached it the first time. If I'd only read my notes and description, would have saved me so much stress.
Oh.
Well, the car wouldn't start. Just then a truck came down the road. This couple helped us. I thought it was something with the battery connection, but learned it most likely is not, but something else. We even tried to jump it in case there was some different kind of issue with the battery. After a while, they gave me a number of a local tow company. Thank goodness I had good cell service to call out and receive calls. They went on their way, but gave me their phone number just in case I can't get out of the national forest. The tow company returned my call while telling him what was happening. My car started with great joy. I often wish my car would start with great joy. My car's usually pretty grumpy in the morning. I think the tow guy was so grateful, too, because he was not super happy about coming to get me with a tow truck and dollies since his flatbeds are not available, and my car is four-wheel drive. This was going to be several hundreds if he had to come get me. So Lori had great joy as well. We made our way back off the hill into the nearest big town just in case the car quit running or wouldn't start again. After stopping in Chelan to get gas, which I had to turn off the car, which did not start again, I was able to be pushed out of the way. After about another hour of sitting there, the car started again. My daughter did a bit of research to discover it would be safe to drive home, but just may have horrible gas mileage. I finally arrived home about 11 p.m. And yes, the note says it was my starter causing the problem.
Wow.
So one of those reasons I like.
And I think he just gave up the ghost on his connection.
Oh, and the suspense. We don't
I know.
Right.
Well, Wits End will be back in just a moment.
He will.
Let's all hold our breath.
Maybe not.
It's our habit to restart our computers, start them and then restart them just to eliminate any issues. And he missed that step this evening. So anyway, Wits End, we thank you so much for that. And Seaback Tribe, we're glad you made it back home safely.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yes, Wits End is experiencing technical difficulties.
Well, I'm glad my log for that cache was helpful. I don't always write super descriptive logs, but that one I did because there was some stuff that I for other people to know on that one. So not about like the cache itself, but the getting there. So yeah,
not a good one to follow the GPS, huh?
No, and not your car GPS either, because we've tried it using like the vehicle's GPS. We've tried it using Google Maps, and you kind of have to just very intentionally take yourself around the south route in, and then fire up the GPS mapping.
So ignore what the GPS says, know where you need to go and get there, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's the trick with that one.
So I would have done the same thing as Seaback Tribe. I have really become, I don't question it anymore. The GPS, when you put it in your phone, you go to the next location, it gives you a map, off you go. Yeah. Why argue with a lady? I have enough women in my life I argue with. I don't need another one on the phone.
Yeah.
And that, I would just follow what she says.
Yep. Well, Seebeck Tribe, thank you for sharing that. Great story. We're glad you got home safe. And I'm assuming the car's fixed by now, but hopefully everything got fixed up. Because you're going to need that for your next #geocache road trip.
The car is fixed up. I have talked to her since.
Good.
And she explained that, she was there for quite some time when it, before it decided to start back up again.
No kidding.
And speaking of starting back up again,
last week was the Groundhog Day show.
Yes.
you feel like you've been here before?
What? Who are you?
Do you have deja vu? Do you have deja vu?
I have Vuja Day.
Oh.
Vuja Day is the feeling that this has never happened before.
No.
Or that it's all happening backwards.
Or yeah, something like that. So is it time for the after show yet?
Yes.
Almost.
Okay.
You got back just in time.
Actually,
Oh.
we haven't gotten to the next line after the glow.
Oh,
And I was so impressed that your computer made it through the glow. It's
Right?
like new.
just as I mentioned having a manual transmission, I blue screened and died. Well, I didn't personally, but
Great.
yeah.
Komokino thinks we're done.
Well, we're done.
He put up
Nice
the
knowing
cache that shall not be named.
Yeah.
Komokino, you're on my naughty list.
Hey,
I mean, it's
Again.
only February, and I have this list already going.
Komokino, I'm always on the naughty list. Don't worry about it. No one's going to get anywhere close to where I am on Chris's naughty list. That takes true effort.
So if you want to contribute to tonight's show, why don't you use the hashtag Roadtrip in the chat? And of course, you can use the hashtag FATAS to bring up anything you like in the after show. You can bring up something you don't like in the after show. We're not really all that picky. But we want to talk about something in the after show.
Okay. Well, why don't we talk about some news first?
Okay. Well, I mentioned this last week, and I'm going to say it again because, it's still apropos to nothing. The election season has started at the WSGA. They're looking for candidates who are interested in serving the board in all positions in the 24-25 board. Now, that tenure begins in April and runs through March of 2025, right? April 2024 through March of 2025. All positions are open. Now, if you're interested in being a chapter rep, you are required to reside in the chapter that you want to serve. Now, the executive committee positions, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, they're open to all Washington State residents or restaurants. We don't care where you are, as long as you live in the state. If you're interested in any position, please contact them through the contact page on the website. That is wsgaonline.org.
There you go.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting when you guys run those elections for the WSGA. Always curious to see who the new board members are and
Chapter reps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
it is. I'm going to talk a little more about the WSGA in a bit, but it's a fabulous organization.
Very cool. So we got a little message here from our friend and supporter of the podcast, Ackerdoc. Ackerdoc writes and says, "Greetings from a very, very cold Alaska where it has been -20 to -30 in the past 2 weeks. And at our house, we just went over 13 feet of snow so far this winter."
That's a lot.
Let's pause his letter right there.
At
Hold
first
on.
I thought, oh, wait a minute, he means inches. No, that he wouldn't be talking about 13 inches. That's like an hour.
13 inches is a lot of snow for us.
For us.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a really good snowfall. It's going to shut down the roads for quite some time. 13 feet.
Yeah.
I don't know if that really impacts Alaskans that much. Right. I mean, in the winter, you can't drive from town to town anyway.
Right.
So,
Well, still.
You can drive on the frozen rivers. Ice road truckers.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
When you
-20 to -30,
Yeah.
It's Fahrenheit.
I was going to say, when you get that cold, it's very
really-
similar because it's
It really
minus 20,
doesn't matter.
minus 34 in Canadian units. So
Mhm.
it's too cold to go hanging outside for any length of time. That's for sure.
Freaking cold.
CRS 98 says, note to self, don't move to Alaska.
Indeed. Indeed. And Brian Lang says minus 40 is the same in Fahrenheit and Celsius. That's
Mhm.
the crossover point. I
Yeah,
couldn't remember
and
what the number was, so thank you.
I have the same desire to experience that on both
Yeah.
scales.
Not.
Yeah, not.
There you go. So
White Coaster says it's 394.24 centimeters.
almost 4 meters.
4 meters of snow.
No. Wow, that's crazy.
Okay. Now,
Yes, he goes
Now
on to say the point of the story.
let's go back to his letter.
The point of the story, besides how drastic the weather is there, is he says, I grew up in Roseburg. Well, you were just talking about Roseburg last week, Chris. And still read the local newspaper. Well, that's a long drive to go get a newspaper.
It is,
Yeah.
especially with 13 feet of snow.
Snow, yeah.
Uphill both ways.
He says, it was really fun to read the following in the Roseburg News Review. Chris Umfenauer came from Tacoma, Washington for his third Roseburg geocache. Umfenauer is a seasoned geocache participant with 20 years of experience and a podcast called Caching in the Northwest.
That can't be any good.
Umfenauer is quoted as saying, I just love the... Oh, hold on. Let me do my Chris Umfenauer impersonation.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
I just love the idea of the city putting on an event like this for people to explore what's around, Umfenauer said.
I thought you were going to say it. I just heard Chris.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Ventriloquism. Anyhow, thank you, AckerDoc, for giving me the opportunity to move even higher up on the naughty list this evening and sharing that great story. Thank you for writing in and telling us. Stay safe, stay warm, AckerDoc.
For sure,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I had no idea he grew up in Roseburg. That it's such a small world, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
So yes, I did go to Roseburg last weekend.
I heard you had, yeah.
And it was an absolutely gorgeous day. I'll tell you a little bit more.
Please do.
A little later. You just have to stay tuned. But let me get back to the WSGA.
Oh,
we haven't forgotten this, right?
Okay.
That's the Washington State Geocaching Association. It's a non-profit recreational club supporting geocachers and geocaching. That kind of sounds familiar. Across the state of Washington. The WSGA promotes social and recreational activities for geocachers and works with land managers to ensure support for geocaching on park lands. We currently have 7 chapters and more than 250 members across Washington State.
See, I totally thought you were going to say that they supported geocaches and geocaching from all across Washington State.
When I read that, it was like, oh, wait, I know these words. I have to read what's in front of me and not say what wants to come out of my face. The WSGA was founded September 8th, 2002, when 19 geocachers in the Puget Sound area met to discuss formation of a statewide organization. Their initial motivation was to preserve geocaching in Washington state parks, which were threatening to ban geocaching. Now, you may recognize the names of some of the originating founders of the WSGA, like Seth. There's an exclamation point. You have to say it.
It's Seth Factorial.
Oh, Seth Factorial. Okay. How about Mountain Bike?
I've heard of him.
And Brian, as in Ross.
Brian.
Yes, that Brian. It's interesting that, that was founded 21 years ago or 21 years ago. And we still have those geocachers out and about and around with us.
Yeah.
Really nice.
So last year on September 8th, the members of the WSGA were able to say that it was 20 years ago today. Brian Roth told the band to play.
Mm-hmm.
No, it would have been 21 years ago.
Last year, I said.
Last year.
Didn't you say it's 21 years this year?
Well, 21 years now. As it has, we haven't hit 22 because that's in September.
Oh, okay, right, okay. But you get my okay. Never mind. It was a joke.
So, the WSGA is old enough to have a beer.
There you go.
The WSGA exists to, are you ready? Promote geocaching as fun and family-friendly outdoor activity that increases awareness and appreciation of the environment and the parks and trails. Provide opportunities for participants to enjoy geocaching and to socialize with other geocachers. Educate park systems and land managers about geocaching and its benefits. Increase awareness and support of geocaching through interaction with other outdoor groups and the public. Encourage low-impact geocaching to promote the stewardship of our natural resources. And support cash-in, trash-out of activities to maintain our parks and trail systems.
Where are you shipping the natural resources?
The natural resources?
Where are you shipping them?
No, they run on their own.
Oh, okay. I thought you said
It's very fast.
shipping natural racehorses.
Resources. If you wanted to do, I'm sorry, what was that?
It's not a steamship; it's a stewardship.
Oh,
It's going to Alaska.
Where there is 13 feet of snow.
apparently the steamships can make it through.
You need an icebreaker.
That's kind of what the beginning of the show was. It was an icebreaker. Boy, you guys. If you wanted to go to a WSGA CETO event, there's going to be one next Saturday in Kent with our supported section of road, right? The WSGA Puget Sound chapter has adopted a stretch of road in Kent.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And we go there every quarter.
Is that where the local resident came out to scold you and then you convinced them you could stay?
Yeah. I did my best Ronald Reagan impression. We're from the government and we're here to help. If you know Ronald Reagan, he said these are the scariest words in the English language. So yes, we went out there. There's an overpass on Frager Road that we always go to. It's like Fraser, but it's not.
You said Frigger Road.
Frager, F-A-G-E-R.
I heard Frigger Road. I'm like, are you going to keep lobbing softballs all night or what?
It goes over Fraggle Rock.
Right.
Right near it. And they've had a lot of homeless there. So they closed the it's odd. The county has the road up to the overpass, and that's the local city somehow.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And so they said, nope, we're closing that. We're closing the area underneath the overpass too.
That takes care of the homeless.
That takes care of the homeless problem. So when I went out there a couple of times ago, I come around and go, oh, the road's closed. Well, let me drive around and see if I can get to it from the other side. Oh, the road's closed here too. Well, there's a house here. This is an easier place to park. We'll have the event here. And that's when the neighbors came out. Oh, and they were hot. No, you can't park here. Okay. Hold on, fine sir. I'm actually here to help. I've got a group of about 20 people coming, and we're going to pick up garbage for an hour. Really? Yes. We're organized with the county. They're providing all the resources, and they're going to come and pick up the garbage when we're done. And he's like, oh, wow, thank you. And in fact, I think there are only 6 residents on that road. They all came out one at a time to thank the volunteers as they were picking up garbage and helping to clean up the road. So, it's really nice when you can see the immediate impact of doing a CETO, when the neighbors come out and say, wow, thank you. We thought we were abandoned by our local government.
You are. You've got some volunteers who've come to help. Yeah.
It's supported by local geocaching. So.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And did you get their contact information so you can phone ahead this time and tell them you're coming?
No, I was going to drive back out there and talk to him, but we found a different spot that works just as well. In fact, the county said, would you consider working on this section? And there's a pull out there. And I figured, you know what? I'm just going to take my 10 by 10 pop-up because, well, it's Washington. It's going to rain. And set up there. And, if anybody gives us any trouble, we're here with the county. We'll be gone in an hour.
Yeah.
So, and there wasn't. In fact, we're doing it again on the 17th. So if you want to join us, come on out and join us. Find that CETO event. There's a GC code for it. I don't know what it is right off the top of my head. I might look it up as the podcast goes along a little bit.
Yeah, we might even have a research department find it for you.
That's right.
Oh.
The Fragger Road CETO.
Fraggle Rock CETO. Got it.
No, that's not quite it. Hey, the
What?
WSGA also does geo tours. Now, I think we talked about one of the 140 caches that are spread across the 7 chapters of the WSGA. We did this for our 20th anniversary. 20 caches in each one of the 7 chapters. That's 140 if I do my math right. And, if you complete 3 of those chapters, that would be a mere 60 geocaches. You get a special geocoin. If you complete all 7 chapters, Land Monkey, what do you get?
You get another even specialer geocoin.
Specialer geocoin,
You
exactly.
also get the full set of digital souvenirs,
Mm-hmm.
including the bonus souvenir for finishing them all.
There you go. And a warm feeling inside.
Rule them all, and in the darkness bind them.
Yeah, and you get a warm fuzzy feeling.
When you finally get back home, yes. Yeah, it's oh, look at that. CRS98 has found 130, 10 left. Hashtag.
Wow, that's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a are we talking about the Geo Tour a little bit? Is that
Yes.
where we're at here? Okay. It's a great way to explore some parts of Washington State we had never been to before.
Right.
So yeah, good job.
There you go.
What's that?
GC Alpha Kilo 4 Juliet Delta. That is the WSGA Puget Sound chapter, Fragger Road, February CETO.
Ah,
Sounds like a Microsoft product with all those words in it.
it does. Yeah.
Mhm.
Does it come in brown?
Yes. It now comes in brown.
Okay. I'm sold.
I'm not sure if you want a CETO that comes in brown, but
Don't all CETOs come in brown, really?
I think it depends where it is.
Yeah. This particular one, since it's hosted by the county, or the we're working with the county. Unfortunately, no children under 18.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the county says the Adopt the Road cleanup program can't have children under 18.
Sounds like lawyers have been involved.
I think they have.
All right. Well,
Because somebody once upon a time did something stupid.
no, it made it no fun for everybody else.
That's right.
That's the
Okay, what do we know about the Geo Tours? Besides, they're in 12 or 11 or 7 chapters. I don't know. There's a number of chapters. I want to say 7. 7 chapters all around the state.
chapters works if it's 20 caches and 100 or 20 groups of 20 and the total of 140.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, 7 across Washington State. Yeah, they're not always in locations where you might expect them to be. They take you to a few, sometimes a little more suburban spots, sometimes a little more remote. And there's a bit of a mixture of cache types in some of them. I know the Inland Empire has like 3 letterbox hybrids. I want to say 3, 4. There's a number of those, which is kind of cool. There's a few multis throughout. I can't remember if there's any virtual. I don't think there were any virtuals in the Geo Tour.
No, there weren't any. None that I was aware of. Oh,
No.
look at this.
Oh, look at that.
There's the 7 chapters, by the way. So
Okay.
when you say Inland Empire, that's the entire eastern end of the state.
Yeah,
I didn't
north to
realize.
south along the east.
Yeah, I didn't realize the Inland Empire extended that far south. I thought South Central went all the way over, but I guess that makes more sense now looking at the map and the fact that it's called.
Otherwise, it would be southwestern, right? Since it goes all the way, or southeastern, since it goes all the way to the east. Yeah, but no.
But yeah, that's cool.
It looks like is our Kittitas and Grant counties the only counties that are split in two different regions?
That follows I-90.
I see. Okay.
So my advice, if given it's early February, and if you are working on this or thinking of working on it,
go west, young man.
Well, depending where you live, right? Like if you already live in the South Central or the Inland Empire, then you're going to be kind of focusing in those areas. But if you're living on, as the majority of the population does, living on the west side, you're going to want to focus on the west side. Key things to know. For North 48, 3 of the caches are on San Juan Islands, 1 on Orcas Island and 2 on San Juan Island. They're not hard finds, but you got to time the ferries. So
you're not going to grab them in your lunch hour.
No, those are some ferry rides.
Land Monkey.
Yeah.
Do you have to take your car on the ferry? Is this something that you could walk to? Catch the next. The ferries run in a loop.
You need a car.
Okay.
For San Juan Island, both the caches aren't terribly far from Friday Harbor. You could easily do it on a bike. But I think for Orcas Island, it's a bit of a drive from the ferry to where the cache is. So, I mean, again, if you've got a bike and you're pretty adept at getting around on your bike, or an e-bike, even better.
Even better.
That would be a great option.
Those islands are a little hilly.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go on a bike, you better know what you're doing.
Yep. So what else do I want to say? Oh, the other thing is, if you're thinking of doing it, the timing right now would be kind of cool. Well, like not right now, but now that the Pacific Northwest Trolls are also out, and now each of those trolls not only has 10 ALs, but a virtual cache at it, you could combine working on the WSGA GeoTour finds as well as visiting the trolls.
And the cities and the towns.
And there's tons to do out there in the PNW right now. That's for sure. And
your map pages and the counties.
Well, those are other challenges. Yeah,
you can work all these together and knock out a lot of these challenges all in one fail road trip, one fail swoop of a road trip for maybe 1,230 miles. With or without a breakdown.
Yeah.
Mentally or mechanically.
A working alternator. Yeah.
So the WSGA is very active in geocaching in Washington State. And they've got their elections coming up. If you've ever wondered, could I be a chapter rep for the WSGA? Yes, you can. And maybe this is your chance. You want to try it out. So there you have it. There you go. That's what I was going to talk about for the WSGA.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good stuff. So when you're, I don't know if we're going to get into like actually planning a road trip per se. Or is that what you wanted to touch on, Chris?
Or some road trips that we've done. I can talk a little bit about Roseburg.
Yeah.
Roseburg road trip.
You took a road trip to Roseburg.
Yes. Shall I?
Yeah, go for it, man. I'm curious.
I was able to meet up with friend and patron of the show, Subway Mark. So we met up about a little more than halfway. So Roseburg from where I live is about 5 hours. So I traveled 3 hours down to Salem, and that, relatively easy drive. Met up with Subway Mark there, and there together we drove down to Roseburg for the day. The event was at a large park, very nicely organized. You walked up, they handed you a passport, piece of paper, 20 questions on this with 20 locations.
Oh, so you were playing 20 questions.
Playing 20 questions at 20 locations. Yes. And some of them were bigger than a bread box. Some of them sounded like, there were 5 physical caches placed and 15, we'll say, virtual locations, right? They weren't virtual caches. They weren't adventure labs. They were just a location, go there, find something.
Okay.
And write it down on your sheet. So, so you do have to go to each location because, what is picked out is particular to that location. It's not something you can see as you drive by. But I do have to say, and I hope we can get some geocachers involved in the future, because this would have been easy to split up and, hey, you go this way and I'll go that way. And, we just share answers.
Gotcha.
Right. Like, Tri-Cities, right? That's what used to happen there. And so they
got wise. Yeah.
Right. They made it a bit more challenging to cheat.
I mean, it's the end of the day. If that's your goal, is to
that's true.
Find shortcuts, you're going to find the shortcuts. It's all about what kind of an experience do you want to enjoy. And
right.
Yep.
If you just want to get it done and get your coin and get on, then I guess that's what you want. So.
There you go. Subway Mark says the weather was perfect. It truly was. It was a beautiful day. We went there. We knocked out the caches. I ended up doing the navigating, and Subway Mark did the driving, and I made a mistake. I didn't expand the map enough, and we went north to south, and by the time we were done, I go, oh, we missed one in the north.
Hey,
oh dear.
You learned that from me.
Yeah.
When you and I went to Roseburg several years ago, I did the same thing when I was navigating.
Oh, so it's a Roseburg tradition.
Apparently, yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Causes.
Yeah. And did you tell him all the things that had changed in Roseburg?
No.
Okay.
No. Now
Subway. It's not a real road trip then.
No, it's not the same. Subway Mark has been to Roseburg several times, and there was areas on this trip he'd never seen before. So there you go. It all worked out.
There you go.
And we made it back to the pavilion before 2:00 when they packed up, and we got our geo coins.
Cool.
Which I do not have down here. I don't know if I want to spoil it. I don't think I will. I think I'll let you guys figure out, maybe you go do it. My goal with this Discover Roseburg is I wanted them to hand out all 200 geocoins on the first day and realize, we've got to do more next year. It's got to be bigger. It's got to be better next year.
Yeah. What was the turnout like?
Well, actually, I got to talk with Tracy a little bit afterwards, right?
Nice.
Because when she's there passing out the passports, it's a very busy time. I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat.
It can be distracting.
Yes, it can be. So we got there. Oh, when we got back. Okay, so talked with Tracy a little bit. It was one of their biggest events. Okay, so they hand out a different colored passport for the first day, and then they hand out white ones thereafter. And it's just kind of their way of keeping track of who came on the first day, on opening day. And on opening day, they passed out 260 passports for a mere 200 coins. So that.
Well, I know some people probably used more than one passport.
Well, I did. Not intentionally, though. What was it? Our third stop, we get out of the car, and it's one we have to walk to, right? We can't just pull up, get the answer, and move on. Oh, no, we have to walk. Like 500 feet we have to walk.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. This was unbelievable in beautiful sunshine. Uphill, both ways, and there wasn't 13 feet of snow. somehow between the car and the cache, I lost the passport.
Oh no.
Walked as soon as I realized I lost it. I walked back thinking I'll find it. No, there was no wind, but I couldn't find the passport.
Oh dear.
So luckily we used Subway Marks, and what was it? 4 or 5 stops later, we were right back at the park where we started. And I came up and I said, "Tracy, we're back." She goes, "Wow, that was really quick." I said, "Yeah, it's not what you think. I lost my passport." So I got another one, filled it all out, and we went on from there. But really fun. And I would highly suggest going to Roseburg. It's a beautiful city. It's worth your time. Go stay in a hotel there. Maybe the Hampton Inn, because they're the ones that pass out the passports and distribute the geocoins when City Hall is not open.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. All right. Lots of talk in the chat here. Yeah. Read My Lips are going on a hashtag geocache road trip to Flagstaff for Geo Woodstock. Planning to be on the road 4 to 6 weeks. Awesome. Wow. What an adventure that's going to be. And
fantastic.
I know they're up here in my neck of the woods, so they're be making their way through. Oh, yeah.
Maybe just Carlo can join up. He'd like to get to Flagstaff this year, but if he does, it won't be driving.
Oh, maybe there's room with Read My Lips. He's going to have to give him a call, see what they can do. That's awesome. Yeah, that's going to be an amazing route. Read My Lips. You guys will have to send us some. Carlo's jealous. Send us some logs for glows from
glows, right?
I can't imagine that.
When you plan a road trip, there's a lot of options, right? Maybe you can afford 4 to 6 weeks, or maybe it's more of just a weekend road trip. Whatever it is, make sure you know before you start the road trip how long you're going to be gone, because that really changes how you pack and what you prepare for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, and I think that's a good point, because jumping back to the WSGA Geo Tours. Some of them, as I said before, some of them were kind of urban, suburban areas, but there was a couple that were out along dirt roads, and like the one that the log was about you got to work to get out there, and so
that's all a Forest Service road, right?
Yeah, it's FSR. Getting out there. So we do our road trips now. We're doing our road trips in the Jeep, but even so. You got to make sure the Jeep's packed for whatever kind of adventure you expect you're going to be going on. Because if we're doing one, like when we did the Trolls, there was no off-roading or anything like that. But
right.
But when we did the WSJs, we had a few where we were off-roading. One of them, we had to go through a bunch of mud at one point, and we were like slipping into tracks and things. So it's like, well, you got to make sure you got toe straps and all that kind of stuff, and traction, because you can get yourself in trouble. So it's about, I think, to your point, Chris, it's about knowing where you're going and packing appropriately.
Mm-hmm. Well, and here's one from Heather who puts a good point. It says a good point. I go on a short road trip every time I drive from Beaverton, Oregon to Bothell, Washington. It always takes me twice as long as it should, because I stop for caches.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, if you're going to head out on a road trip, have some idea of how much fuel you're going to need, right? Fuel is still expensive. It's dropping in price a little bit, but it's still pricey. So, you want to do that. Accommodations are going up. Food is going up. Everything's getting more expensive. So plan on this.
Car maintenance.
If you have to do emergency car maintenance or towing, which could be several $100s, these are things that you're going to have to consider when you start your road trip. Do you have, everything you need financially to be able to extend this or to get this road trip? And if something happens, can you extend the time?
Very cool.
Let's see. Keith says, after last year, from my 2-month road trip. I ideally plan one that's a little more tame this year. Yeah. I Ham says, but I thought geocaching was free.
Oh, it is.
Exactly. Or at least, $30-$40 a year.
Yeah. Oh, well, when you go on a road trip, make sure your car is prepared, right? You've got good tires. You've packed an emergency kit. Have some basic first aid. If you get trapped in 13 feet of snow, do you have blankets? Do you have candles? Do you have, batteries? Jumper cables, right? Especially if your starter's failing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, that was a perfect glow for this episode, wasn't it?
Mm.
Do you have enough warm clothes? Do you have the right clothes? Are you going to go into a different, temperature zone? Are you going warmer or colder?
Yeah. Just Carlo brings up an interesting point here. It says, driving home from Seaside, Oregon in 2022 was the first time I learned about caches at rest stops. Had to negotiate time with the family to stop more often. And Chris, you were talking earlier about challenges to do while you're on road trips in the Pacific Northwest. Well, there's the Glatter Bladder Challenge, which is finding caches at rest stops. So, that's another thing you can be doing.
Yeah. And, I've gone to some rest stops with 2 and 3 caches in them. So some of them are quick, others are not. Read My Lips says we're starting off doing the Spokane portion of the WSGA Geo Tour, and then Yellowstone, Tetons, Arches, and the Four Corners, and trying to get to Yosemite. Now, I'm pretty sure there's only Geo Tour in the first part of that, not Yellowstone, Tetons, Arches. But you know what? Is the Utah Geo Tour still going? Or did that?
No, they shut it down quite a few years ago, sadly, but even so, even without it, there's some remarkable places.
Yes. Utah has more national parks than any other state.
Utah, for us, is funny. Utah is the only state out of the entire U.S. where we have found caches in every county because we had to complete the Geo Tour.
Sure. Keats brings up an excellent point. Know how to change a tire.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's obvious for some, but my urban public transport butt didn't know how to change one. Flat tires in rural Newfoundland sucks.
And I would add to that, from my experience, if you've watched my YouTube videos, also make sure when you leave that all the parts for changing your tire were put back into your vehicle the last time you had mechanical work done on it.
Yeah. If you've got a special key to unlock a locked lug nut, make sure you have that in the car.
Yeah. Because my experience in the shop, they used it and then they didn't put it back, and I didn't check to see if it was back. I just put everything back the way they should have, and I got a flat out on an FSR, and I couldn't do jack about it.
Mm-hmm.
So was not happy about that.
Yeah. So you know what? It's a great opportunity. I've taught all my kids how to change a flat tire.
Yeah.
Right. My son had a flat tire. I went out to rescue him. It was in his new car. And it was like, oh, do you have a jack? He goes, I don't know. Okay. So I take the jack out of my car. I take the lug wrench out of my car. We change his tire. And then 2 weeks later, I realized I didn't get that stuff back. If I had a flat tire, I would have been out of luck. But I need all the stuff in my car.
I was going to say, newer cars, you're lucky he even had a spare tire.
Well, a lot of new cars don't even have a spare tire. They will have a tire repair can of aerosol, right? That fills the tire with foam and
fix the flat stuff. Yeah.
Hopefully gets you where you're going. But wow. Yeah. So that's a really good point. Know how to change a tire.
Yeah, that's a very good one. Yeah, it's just Carlos says, at least I had the drone to play with, and Heather got my joke. Couldn't do jack about it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, maybe that's a good point we're just about at time. Maybe that's a good point to wrap it up on. Just, make sure you've got the right stuff packed and know it's kind of like the 3 T's, right? trip plan, train, know how to change your flat.
And maybe we need 10 essentials for the car.
There you go.
Well, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Caching in the Northwest.
Yep, I am going to scroll down to the part of the show notes I should be looking at. And then I'm going to thank Landsharks and Gold Country Geotourism, our corporate Denali level sponsors. Landsharks, LandSharkz.ca.
Now, you look at that and you think, yeah, that's easy to read. I understand. But when you're reading it out loud, it's not as easy as you think it is.
Yeah, it was actually easier for me to not look at the show notes and just go by memory. Yeah. Anyhow, they are the outdoor adventure geocaching store. Check them out online. And remember, they're shipping those online orders daily. And for absolutely amazing geotour outdoor experiences.
Hashtag road trip worthy.
Hashtag road trip worthy for sure. Check out exploregoldcountry.com and make your geocache road trip plans to the
Come true.
There you go.
Hey, do they have an app that would help you?
They do. Download the app. Get on Chris's good list by downloading the app. All right. We want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters, of course, Landsharks and Gold Country Geotourism, but that also includes Groovy Owl, Cool Cow Cachers, and Cachly, the geocaching app. Folks, if you want to know more about supporting this here podcast, make sure to click on that Patreon link on the cachingandw.com website.
Like B. Pendragon did.
And Mountain Bike.
And Logwork.
Peach of Washington.
BC Rock Crawler.
Minerve.
And Tess.
Limax.
Dora Moore.
Just Carlo.
Seebeck Tribe. Thanks for the glow.
Yeah, indeed. Sege Hove.
You talks to rocks.
RE54321.
Korsgat.
Camp Clan.
Team Noltex.
Green Words.
Alarobrick.
Boomer 365.
Genies.
MC3 Cats.
J-Car.
The LG 9000.
Gas Station Tuna.
Geocaches.
Thanks for the message that we could read on the show, and stay warm and safe. Ackerdoc.
UDAC. Maybe she sent a message we can't read on the show.
Yeah.
Possible. GeoNav Pro.
Kitty Quest.
Just finding our way.
CRS 98.
GSM times 2.
Skyhawker.
Flagman.
Trexer.
Nervous Energies. It sounded like a horse. That didn't work. I'll come up with another one next
Okay,
week.
good. How about Kev MacD?
How about Wino Seattle?
How about my driver, Subway Mark?
Yeah, if you're heading to Roseburg, look up Subway Mark.
Yeah.
Whidbey Island Gal.
Wet Coaster.
And Kid Vegas 19. Folks, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. So if you like the show, please click the Patreon link on the cachingandw.com website. If you didn't like the show, please let us know what you want us to talk about. And if you like the vibe, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. Those reviews are important. We still have the contest going. You leave us a review on where you get this podcast, and you have a chance to win some fabulous prizes. Yes, that's right. Now, the reason you would leave a review, it's the right thing to do, because it would be like if you were in a restaurant, you would tip. If you were in a live audience, you would clap. But since you're on a podcast, leave a free, fast, fabulous, fantastic 5-star review. And of course, you can call 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask a question. Maybe meet us in Roseburg any time of the day or night. Of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingandw.com. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and chat. This show's produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, Jay Kennedy, and Brian Lang. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2024 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for
The After Show.
We've been after showed.
Yeah, CRS98 says, hit the like button.
That also helps us.
It really does.
Absolutely. All right. What do I want to? What do we got? What do we got?
GSM times 2 doesn't like pea soup and liver.
Okay.
I feel like there's a context that I missed there.
You don't have to. It's for the after show.
Okay. Okay. What else we got? Komikino. I dropped off 2 travel bugs in Japan at an event with the mission to make it back here to me. One made it to the area and is in the hands of a caching friend. I'll be getting it soon. Awesome. That's fun.
If
Hey,
you wanted them back sooner, you could have just taken them back with you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, on the topic of travel bugs and missions, I was chatting in the chat there a little bit. Lost Ken had a trackable tag from the Cache Advance trackable tags,
Mm-hmm.
and its mission was to make it to me, which was kind of fun and cool. And it had a very roundabout journey, but it did make it to me. Dozens and dozens of logs on that one. It's visited a lot of caches, but I just got it this past weekend. That was a lot of fun. So
Nice.
showed up at an event, and the event host came charging right over and said, "I have this for you. This is for you." So that was a lot of fun. So thank you, Lost Ken. And I see that you're asking about changing the goal. You know what? We're gonna take it around with us. We're gonna take it down to Antarctica, and we're gonna take it to the original, or not the original. We're gonna take it to the Brazil Ape Cache. But then when we get back from that trip, yeah, go for it, man. Change up the mission, and I'll get it moving again for you. But thank you. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
That'll have some miles on it.
Yeah.
I want to pop up a remark here by Dora Moore. Hashtag road trip. Be flexible. I injured my knee and had to scrap the plans to go hiking. We ended up doing T1 caches. I was on crutches for the rest of the trip.
Ouch. But
So
yeah.
that's really true. You know,
And if you're with a group, be flexible for everybody.
for people. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if you're with a group. Not everybody moves at the same pace.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us. And until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.